Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Lian on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. If you want to live your dream life and become the best version of yourself, then this podcast is for you. I hope that I can inspire and encourage you to never give up and to always believe in yourself. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Welcome to Manifesting Your Dream Partner. For those who haven't seen my story the other day, I found my old journal where I wrote down a list 2020 about how I want my relationship to look like one day, how I want it to feel like, what I value in a relationship. And yeah, I found the list, and I mean, you guys know I'm engaged now, and Jules ticked all the boxes. I looked at the list I think 2 years ago as well, because I put all my journals away and I found it again, and I already saw that he ticked all the boxes without me really paying attention to that. It's not that I had the list the whole time and was like looking if he fits into my ideal relationship that I wanted. It was more of me having the knowing what I wanted and manifested it, or thought about it, even spent some time on it and thought about it. What is important to me in a relationship? What do I value? And that made me also realize my worth and what doesn't work for me, like what I don't value or don't want in a possible relationship. So it was about getting clear. This is just a little start. I want to dive more into this in this episode, and I share all about how I even got the idea of doing this and why I did it and my life now. I thought I'd start with a little life update before I go into the Manifest Your Dream Partner topic. We are in the start of planning our wedding, and the thing is with me, even though I have this wedding plan, which is amazing, but I kind of want to do everything at once, and I just have to tell myself, Johanna, slow down. You don't have to get it all done now. So we're currently looking at venues. I booked in 2 venues on Sunday, and then we have another one on our list that we want to have a look at, or actually 2 more. I kind of change my mind every day of what my favorite one is. I'm really set now on one that we won't have a look at until mid-November. But it's just so hard to make a decision, honestly, especially as a couple. I feel like because I changed my mind so quickly, like I said, I had like a favorite, and then the next day I have another one that's my favorite. It's so good. Jules is really specific or knows what he wants. Even though I'm the one looking and making the list of where we're gonna go, he be the one being more strategic about it, or visualizing it. So I'm really glad that we kind of meld into each other and complete each other in that kind of way. Whereas I'm often really impulsive in decision making, he is really good at really comparing things and deciding on what's best. So yeah, that's the stage we're at the moment. I also planned to have a look at dresses in December, the first weekend of December. So we're planning to, our wedding is not until 2025 February, so that gives us, when I look at dresses in December, that's then still 14 months, and that's a good time. What I heard, 12 months before you should get your dress because of alterations or shipping, and if you need it to be, custom made. Anyway, I keep you posted. The nice thing is, it's now the time difference to Germany is exactly 12 hours, which makes it a bit easier kind of to make it work for my mum, because I really want my mum to be part of it, and she's gonna FaceTime us when I try on dresses. and so she can be part of it. And yeah, I'm not sure if I will find my dress in December or if I do like another trip somewhere and try on some dresses. But as you know me, I have a Pinterest board with full of dresses and I kind of know what I'm after. And luckily I did some photo shoots in the past where I tried on different dresses. I always thought, I'll give you a little hint, I always thought I would like a princess dress, or I think that's just what I had in my mind from when I was really young. And my mom's dress was quite, how do you say, like fluffy, and that kind of was always stuck in my head as a wedding dress, like a slim at the top and then like a princess dress. But I actually realized, because I did some photo shootings and had one on, that I actually like a different shape way more. So I'm going for a different shape, but yeah, obviously not going too deep into detail here. But again, I have a vision board, and also for our wedding we have a vision board, or I kind of created it on like Pinterest. I mean, that's probably more the girl thing. I show it to Jules and ask him if that's the vibe he's going for too. But yeah, I have literally a mood board, vision board for everything in my life that I want to accomplish. Yeah, so wedding dress, and then I have one for the wedding itself. I even have one for the wedding cake. Then my vision for the rest of my life, or like for the next year, for the next 5 years, I have vision boards. It's just really good, so you know what is important to you, what you work towards to, and what you're not settling for less. And that kind of goes back to the topic that I want to talk about today, and that's manifesting and visualizing your perfect relationship. And this episode is for anyone, or like it's for all of you, but especially for those who feel like they never find the right person, or they always find the wrong people, or always date the wrong guys or girls. So this episode is for everyone who is doubting that true love is out there, because I was in the same position, especially when I wrote the list. I was like, before that, I was like exhausted from getting to know people or like getting to know guys. And I think I was just really exhausted from dating or going on dates with the wrong people. It's not that I was on many dates, but just it is like energy draining to trying to get to know someone, just to figure out they're not on the same level as you are, or they don't have the same goals, or are not even looking for a relationship. So yeah, it is exhausting. So what I did in August 2020, I made a list with the things that are important to me in a relationship. So I'm gonna read a few things that were important to me. For some of you, it might be so clear, yeah, that's what everyone wants in a relationship. But I feel like when you write it down and really think about what you value in a relationship, you really also set your boundaries on what you don't accept, or how you don't want to be treated. But we are focusing on, obviously, on what we want. But as you do that, you start setting your boundaries and becoming more clear on when you maybe date someone and realize, oh, this is actually not what I want, and I was hoping to get this out of a relationship, or get this support or something, you know? So I wrote down, I want someone, or I want it to be honest, motivation, how do you call it? Like goal setting, having goals in a relationship or individual, someone who has their goal in front, like know what they want in life, trust. And also one thing that was important to me was that I still have my freedom to do my things, like have my friendships and do like trips with, as you know, I always do a little girl trip with Muriel. That was still important to me, and like not someone who put me in a cage. I know that from an experience, like someone who, just someone, I feel like we all go through different relationships in our life, some of us, and we realize this is exactly what I don't want and I won't accept anymore, like something like that. I was really young, like 17, 18 back then, 18. So I had a lot to learn, and I learned that I don't want to be put in a cage. I think there's a saying like a golden cage. My mom actually had the same experience, and it was so nice to talk about that with my mom after I broke up with that person, that she had the same experience and she could see it, but she didn't tell me anything, or like, I probably wouldn't have listened to her anyway back then. So I love that I can talk about this with my mum and that we drove through the same things in the past. Something that I also value was doing things together on the weekend, or maybe even when I read this now, like this was what I wrote down, when you are invited somewhere that you go there together, which is so normal for things like when Jules and I get invited somewhere, or when we get invited, we go together. Sometimes we go by ourselves. Like if I know it's just a girls' night, I just go by myself. Or if you know that's just the guys doing their thing, he goes by himself. But that if we get invited somewhere, we go somewhere together, like a wedding or whatever it is. And for me now, reading this is so weird because this is so normal for me. And so, yes, that should be the norm for me. But I remember back then, like that was 2020, and in a relationship before I wrote this down, I didn't have this. So we didn't do things together as a couple, or got invited somewhere and went together. We always had our own things all the time. So yeah, so I'm happy I wrote this down and reflected on that that's something I want and value in a relationship. I also value that he is proud of me and supports me, understands my goals, likes the water, the beach, which Jules 100% loves. Like, he went a bit crazy in Germany because there was no water close. Like, the same. I felt a bit like, gosh, I need the ocean. But it's funny how you get so used to having the ocean right at your door front, like seeing it every day. I'm not taking it for granted, not at all, but just realizing how much I missed it. I wasn't aware of how much I'm going to miss being close to the ocean. Although it was always my dream living close to the ocean, but now that I've been living here for 4 years, it's crazy how you get used to it. I remember when I just moved to New Zealand, in the start I was wondering, wow, will I ever get used to this beautiful view? Like the people that live here see this every day. Are they even aware of how lucky they are? And now I gotta be honest, like 4 years later, I am so used to it, but I also want to say I still appreciate it, and I'm so grateful. I don't take it for granted. So yeah, but that's also something I realized when I was traveling, how much I love my home here in New Zealand. And also something I realized while I was traveling overseas and visiting my old hometown. I don't want to hurt anyone, like especially I don't want to hurt my parents, but they know now as well my home is in New Zealand. I didn't feel like I thought I would feel when I went back, or I kind of felt like how I thought, because I thought when I go back to Germany, I will feel I can't wait to go back to New Zealand. And that's exactly how I felt. And I also felt I was wondering if I would feel how I felt when I came back from New Zealand 2015, knowing back then my travels were over. I'm not going to New Zealand anytime soon. And I actually had this feeling for a moment. Being back in Germany, I was like a little bit depressed for like a short, tiny second, because I was also so excited to see everyone. Like that excitement was way higher than I wasn't depressed, but just being like, I want to go back. But then I realized I can go back. Whereas back then in 2015, I knew it will take a while until I'll be able to go back. But this was now a little bit off topic. What I wanted to say is, or what on my list was, that for him, the person I want to date next, I hope they love the beach, they love outdoors, they love the water. And yeah, Jules ticked that box like a million times. Something that was really important to me and is still really important to me is not getting wasted every weekend. Like, that's so not me. I don't drink often. Like, I can have a good time without drinking, but I also have a party and I drink. Not saying I'm not drinking at all, but I remember I felt in the start exhausted from explaining myself why I decided not to drink. And when I started seeing Jules, like, he knows now, like, it's so normal that I don't have a drink on the weekend or in the evening. That's just me. But maybe it will come one day. I will, like, maybe when I have kids, I'll be like, in the evening, I need a wine. It's just not me. So anyway, for me in a relationship, it was important that my partner doesn't drink every weekend or gets wasted every weekend. That's just so not my type. And Jules actually doesn't really drink that much. So I know he drank more in the start, and it's not that I wanted him to stop. Like, I'm not someone who forces someone to change, because everyone should be themselves. But he actually stopped. It's probably because he hung out with me more. So it's not that he drank a lot. It's more like the occasional beer on the weekend doesn't really happen anymore because I don't drink, and then we just chill without drinking. But then also when he has a beer, that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But what I kind of wanted to attract, or like talking in my list that I have here, is the fact of getting wasted, getting drunk every weekend. So that was a no-go for me. Oh, here, just see the next thing is understand that I don't drink much. Well, often probably is the one that I should write. Then for me also, it was really important to have deep conversations. Like, I think this is like something that is, for me, top priority, to talk about feelings, to talk about what's going on inside you, to talk about your struggles, because that's like the main thing why you want a partnership, to carry each other through the good and the bad, to talk about what's happening, what's going on inside you, to be a support person. So that's something that was so important to me. And then I also wrote down love and doing stupid, crazy things, like being just silly beans. And definitely can be a silly bean with Jules. To get along with your family, get along with my partner's family, and also the other way around. And I just have to say, I was always so not scared, but also not worried, because I know my parents and I know how lovely they are, and they love Jules. But I was just wondering how the language barrier is gonna be, but their English is on a good level. Like, my mom's English is so good by the end of the 6 weeks they were staying here. And even like my dad, who never really learned English that much in school, his English improved so much. And I gotta say, Jules and my dad even can communicate without words. So yeah, but I actually don't want to talk too much about my list. I just wanted to share some of my experience. And what I want to say to you here is to create a list if you're struggling with that, or just create a list. You can do this with anything in life, but I mean, today we focus on relationship, but you can also do this for friendships, for relationships at work, for whatever you want in life. You can make a list with what is important to you, what you look for in a relationship, what you value, what you want, the feelings, the things maybe. I mean, it's more about the feelings actually. And once you wrote down what is important for you in a relationship, what you value, you will firstly attract these things, because you will point them out and know that this is what you want. But you will also set your boundaries and know your worth, and you will realize, okay, this is actually something that I don't accept, and this is something that I don't want in a relationship. This is a red flag. So once you know what you want and what you value, and once you know your green flags, you will attract green flags and you will point out red flags so much easier. So I encourage you to do a list. Even if you are in a relationship, you can still do a list with things that you value in your relationship, maybe things that you want to attract more into your relationship, that you want to grow into as a couple. But you can also do a list on any other thing that you want to attract. You'd be surprised by how powerful this is. The thing is, we never really I do, but a lot of people don't take time to think about what is it that I value and I want in my life. Like setting clear intentions and being clear on what you want. So important. Many of us are so busy making a living that they forget what is actually important to me in my life. What do I actually value and want to attract into my life? And setting an intention and being clear on their vision and what they want. Because if you are not, and if you are one of those people who says, this always happens to me and I always attract the wrong people, it is because you don't actually know what you want to attract. You're just focusing on all the things you don't want to attract, and of course you're going to attract those things then. If I tell you don't think of a red car, you are thinking of a red car. Our mind is powerful, that's all I can say. And you really have to become clear on the life you want to live, the relationships you want to have, what is important to you. So I'll leave this with you. Enjoy journaling on this, making a list, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in today. If you like this episode and don't want to miss any new ones, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Feel free to share it with your friends or on social media. It really means a lot to me. It will help me to create this podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana. I'm always happy to connect, so flick me a message if you want. Enjoy the rest of your day, and always remember, it's a beautiful day to have a good day. It's a beautiful day to be alive.